All right, so we are in a Lexus RX350. It's pretty nice in here. We're gonna take it on a little drive and see how it does. And this is basically my first time driving it. I've only driven it a couple feet so far, so these are essentially my first impressions on the car. Put it in drive. So one thing I kind of noticed about this RX350 is that it feels like a bigger SUV than I was expecting. It seems pretty responsive. I suppose it could be just a little bit more responsive, but for the most part, yeah, this thing just kind of gets up and goes. It's not bad. I have good visibility, nice tall windshield, big side mirrors over here, get good view out of the rear glass. No complaints there. Stepping on the brakes, they got a nice classic Toyota feel to them. They're kind of like a stiff pedal. They have a really nice bite. They don't feel mushy or anything, or like you're not going to stop in time. They kind of respond right when you start pressing the pedal down, which I like. It seems to shift very smoothly, in typical Lexus fashion. I wasn't expecting anything to be jerky in here, unrefined. So far it's a very refined car to drive. All right, so I've been driving this RX for almost a full day now, and there's some things I like about it, some things I don't like. I'm gonna go over everything. This is gonna be totally unbiased, just my honest opinion on what the RX is like to drive. All right, setting off. So, first thing I like about the RX is the engine performance. This thing actually surprised me with how well it gets up and goes. It uses a 3.5 liter V6, making 295 horsepower, and it definitely feels like it. This thing, it has good torque down low. I'm able to like dust people pretty easily in this thing without even having to go hard on it. So I definitely like that aspect of the RX the most. Very smooth stops, no complaints there. This 8-speed, it shifts so smoothly. I love the shift quality of this 8-speed. It plants the engine in the right power band when you're accelerating, and it's just a very smooth, refined transmission. It always does. Well, not always. I'll touch on that in a minute. But for the most part, when you're just accelerating around town, it really does what you want it to do. It kind of reads your mind pretty well. So I'm pretty impressed with that as well. Test out the handling. You know, it's really not bad for an SUV, especially for an RX. I was expecting this thing to feel downright floaty, like a total boat in the corners. But to be honest, this thing kind of handles like a car. It's really not bad. Taking it around another corner here. Yeah, not bad. It definitely has a similar cornering capability to a normal four-door sedan. The ride comfort it's good. It reminds me of like the Highlander or the Sienna, which isn't much of a surprise since they both share the same platform. It could be maybe a little bit more isolating, like back there, that bump, kind of felt that a little bit. So it's a little bit mainstream in terms of the ride. It's not like a total like Rolls Royce where that's concerned. Overall though, this ride should please most consumers. It's a good ride for the price point, and I can't really complain there. Getting on the gas, yeah, this thing has such smooth acceleration, and it, you know, it gets right up to 60, no problems. Now, one of my complaints with this RX is the fact that the 8-speed, it doesn't kick down as fast as I would like. I'm gonna slow down a little bit, gonna try to accelerate a little bit harder here. So I'm putting my foot down, and it just takes a little bit to get it going. I love the engine note. These Toyota V6s always sound so good. The steering response, I was expecting the steering to feel like really loose and really imprecise, but it actually it responds pretty quickly, definitely quicker than I was expecting it to. Get on the gas here. Yeah, this thing moves very nicely. This car, it maneuvers itself very smoothly when you turn the wheel. It just glides around the corner, and it's like you actually get like a pretty good feel for where the front tires are. Point's nice and straight. I don't feel like I have to like constantly correct the wheel. It just kind of hold on to it and the car does its thing. It's a little bouncy in here. That softer ride translates to a more bouncy kind of character. But on a smooth road like this, it feels settled. So that's only just a minor complaint. I'm actually gonna go down here. I like how fast this transmission upshifts too. It's got a very kind of like snappy characteristic to it. Like I said, good visibility. I can see everything. The hood slopes down really nicely. This dashboard, it's kind of long. It took like a little bit of getting used to. It makes the car feel like a little bit bigger than it actually is. I got used to the dimensions of this car very quickly though. It doesn't really hide its proportions, but it's still a very easy car to maneuver. It doesn't feel like you're driving like a house on wheels. It feels normal, is what I'm trying to say. It's kind of a happy medium between not too big, but not small and cramped in here either. We're gonna do a little highway run here. It's doing pretty well around this corner. We're gonna test out the radar guide cruise control. So typical Toyota, you push the stalk, very easy to engage. I'll set a closer following distance. So this is like the medium distance right here. We're gonna try the steering assist. I won't try it now because this is a pretty steep corner, but yeah, I mean, you do have to kind of keep your hands on the wheel. It's not perfect. For the most part, it's not like Tesla's autonomous system. It's kind of like ping-ponging back and forth in the lane. They may have updated the steering assist for the 2020 model, but this 2018, it could use some improvement. When you're just cruising, this car is actually a great highway car. It's just a really smooth ride. It glides along, no problems. You just kind of go at your own pace in this car. You're not trying to race anybody. You're just trying to get to where you're going, and that's fine. That's what a lot of people want. Brakes feel reassuring when you're coming off the highway. They don't shimmy or jitter, or you know, it's very smooth, and you just kind of coast to a stop very nicely. Gets right up to highway speed, no complaints. We're gonna take it around this cloverleaf and see how it does. Really not too bad. I am feeling some body lean, but the wheels grip the road very nicely. The steering remains consistent throughout the corner. It's fairly quiet in here. To be honest, I was expecting a little bit more quietness from this car. It's definitely not loud by any means. It's pretty peaceful for the most part in here. It's a nice refined environment, but I guess what I'm trying to say is it could be a little bit quieter, I think. Hopefully they'll maybe tone down the road noise for the next generation. We're gonna go on this little curvy back road here, see how it performs. Like I said, smooth acceleration, silky smooth. Very easy car to drive. Actually, I'm gonna try to put it in sport mode and see what that does. Get a little sport indicator there. Okay, this transmission responds way better in sport mode. I barely had to tap the throttle and it just kind of, it downshifted right away. Yeah, that's not even a quarter throttle, and it just kind of wants to get up and go. Yeah, wow. Okay, so I will say sport mode does make a very nice difference. The accelerator is noticeably more responsive. I don't believe this changes the steering dynamic. I'm not really noticing any changes with the steering. I think this is mostly just tunes the accelerator and the 8-speed. It's not an overly aggressive sport mode either. It keeps the RPMs low when you want them to be. But when you want to go a little harder, it just has no problem kicking down. I think the BMW X3 or X5, or maybe the Porsche Cayenne will definitely offer a more sporty experience. But for the most part, if you're in a hurry or something, or you want to go a little faster, I mean, it's really not bad on a back road. I'm pretty impressed. There are situations where this car can feel a little bit floaty and a little bit lumbering, but when I'm taking it through these corners, I'm not noticing any problems. Good turning radius. All right. Well, that about sums up the RX350. I like the smooth power of the V6. It makes good power. I mean, 295 horsepower, that's nothing to scoff at. And it gets up and goes well. I mean, I had no problems merging or keeping up with traffic. This 8-speed automatic, it shifts very smoothly. It's a nice snappy shifting transmission, although it could be better at downshifting when you're on the highway or when you need to make a pass. It doesn't exactly downshift quickly. In terms of the ride, it's a very smooth ride. It glides down the road very well. It could be a little bit more isolating, like when you hit a pothole or something. It's not the most like premium kind of ride. It's not like an S-Class, but it is a very smooth ride, no doubt about that. I was impressed with the steering. It responds nice and quick. It's not like sports car quick, but it's quick for a crossover, and it remains very consistent. It holds the road very well. It's just a consistent and refined steering feel, which I like, and it's, you know, it's never unpredictable. It's never like too vague when you turn the wheel. It's very pretty responsive and direct. As for the handling of the RX, it did really well on that cloverleaf off-ramp. I felt some body lean, but the car, it didn't feel unsure of itself, which I really liked. So it just kind of did it, and it was fine. And once you're out of the corner, the V6, it accelerates very well. As for the interior, I didn't really talk about this. I like the brown leather seats. I like the big screen right here in your line of sight. Actually, I'm gonna move so I'm not in the sun. Just gonna spin it around here. All right, we're good. All right, so the interior, it's a little bit button crazy. That does show its age a little bit. A lot of the newer cars have like screens that do everything. This gauge cluster, it's looking dated. I will be honest, this does look dated compared to some of the latest luxury cars. Even my Honda has like a partial like digital display for the tachometer, which this doesn't have. And this center screen, it's looking a little bit old. The graphics and just like it's really small. So if you want the latest technology, I'd look at something European probably, or maybe the Acura RDX. But if you want just like a very reliable, very solid luxury SUV, I think this is a good way to go. I don't think this is a bad car to purchase. I think this will make a lot of people very happy. This Lexus control wheel, it's gotten so many complaints by people, and I have to say, it is a little bit hard to use. Just when you move it, it's very sensitive, and when you're driving and hit a bump, it's easy to like go all the way over to the other side. So there's not like a whole lot of margin for error here. But overall in the infotainment, you got destination, you got your maps, you got your weather. Pretty cool. But yeah, nice car. Very impressed. I didn't totally like this car at first. You know, when I first started driving it, I kind of thought it was a little numb, a little floaty, but as I've gotten accustomed to it, it's really grown on me. It's just a very simple car, but at the same time, it's very luxurious. But it's an easy, simple car to drive every day.